So as you could hear, it definitely has the capability to sort of really reproduce, a very sort of very filmic, soaring, really beautiful type feel, and especially with those very, very detailed and specific articulations, your music can really, really stick out. And I think that, it's amazing what Spitfire has done again and again and again, creating libraries that sort of innovate in not only the world of, sample libraries and, developing sample libraries, but also just putting out to the public these articulations that have never necessarily really been accessible to composers who don't always have access to full orchestras. So it's truly an unbelievable thing. So this sort of piece that I wrote is sort of supposed to replicate the sound of a forest. So what I ended up doing at the beginning is I have this thing called Morning in the Forest, and it's a sort of ambience little thing, and it just has sort of some sounds of the forest. And actually a few months back when I was writing this piece called The Letter, it's sort of this really period drama piece. And one of the things that I've noticed from a lot of period drama scores, like, Desplat's The King's Speech or The Danish Girl, stuff like that, is that, the orchestra is so incredibly very detailed in the way that it's recorded. So you can hear all the sounds of the orchestra preparing to play, and it's very, very detailed in the way that it's recorded. So what I ended up doing for that piece is I actually took the sound from the video to 422 from John Cage, which is pretty much just people sitting in an orchestra hall silent the whole time. And so I took that and I put it under the track, and it actually sounded like it was being played by a real orchestra. So for this, I sort of just wanted to place the orchestra in a forest and really give off that whole entire, that really feel. And I think that that's the sort of aesthetic that this library was going for in specific. So what we ended up doing is we started out the whole entire piece with this articulation right here. And this is a beautiful articulation. I'm having a hard time saying beautiful. Holy shit. So here we have Calango Trato, and this is sort of like how you would normally play Calangos. You'd have, the back of your bow on the strings, and this is just sort of creating like a sustain out of that. And it's really, really, really nice. And then we have these things which come in with, of course, and then it does that whole thing. And then we also have a couple low string patches here. So we have, and I actually love this low string patch because it's so, it is so detailed in the way that it's recorded, and you can hear just the total personality of the bass. And then here we have the Consordino low. And see how you can hear all the sounds of these people, like, sort of like even breathing. And it is really, really expressive and very, very nice, very detailed. So, like, let's just say let's just hold a note here. Then we'll go to these. So you know you can just get these really really nice sounds with this orchestra. And as you just saw, like that was just literally me playing solo, you know, using a few different instruments and going around and just sort of playing them. And that's like the thing that you can do with this library. It's very very, it's sort of just inspiring even to hear. And then we have something from Brunel loops over here. And this is called Time Passing. So here is what the synth engine actually looks like inside of Tundra. It's the same synth engine that they use. It's the Edna synth engine. And they used it, of course, with their Edna actual library. And then they also used it in Spitfire 1 and all the other libraries that have the synth available. So yeah. And then we also have a soaring strings patch here. And that is just sort of to, you know, as I said, this library doesn't have to be completely used by itself, so you can use it in context with other libraries, and that's exactly why I chose to sort of include a string patch that comes from a library that's aimed towards the very realistic orchestral sort of tone. This library, Albion V, went after that very specific type of tone, but this went after... just the very realistic, and so I just sort of combined them together. And then we had our fast woodwinds patch from Majestica, so you can really get that. So yeah, then we had a little zebra pad, high strings flotando. Then we had a solo cello and a solo viola staccato. Oops. That just sort of adds a whole, you know, personality of its own. Then we have these bass hits that are from the synth engine, as well as I forgot the percussion, which is also from the percussion section. And then for the percussion section, for the lower part of the keyboard, they had sort of their sub hits and their synthetic stuff. And then towards the center and then over to the left, they had, or over to the right, they had their actual recorded big drums. And that's the main thing that they recorded for this library, just the really, really gigantic drums that really create that very wide and open soundscape. Like that. That's one of the sub hits. So yeah, let's sort of go ahead and take a look at what's in this library and what it has to offer. So, as I said, the fifth library in the series, we have Albion 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so now we're on 5. Sort of go to the front. Okay, so here we go. So it has 5 folders, just like most of these have had. If I remember, well, not Albion 4, but Albion 1. Yep, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it has the Albion 5 Orchestra, it has the Brunel loops, it has the Darwin Percussion, the Stevenson Steam Band, and it also has the Varal Grid Evo. And so I'll get to the grid when we get there. So start with the orchestra. So it has, of course, the brass highs, the brass lows, string highs main, and then also some string highs soft and wild, string low main, and then it has a string low main. I just said low main. And then a string low, soft and wild, and then it also has woods highs and woods lows. So what we're just going to do is we're going to go ahead and take a look at the individual patches here. So as you can see, it's pretty extensive, the amount of patches that are in here. And just to sort of give you guys an idea of how you guys can combine these patches and sort of create your own string ensemble patches, and, you know, let me go ahead and load in, let's just say this string high, then we'll load in this brass long air, then we'll load in string low long, and let's just make this frozen. So So you can just get that tone, and it's unbelievable the type of stuff that you can get from this. And then let's take a look at some of these articulations. So let me just go ahead and open up one of these patches. These always take so long for me, but it's fine. I don't know why these main patches always take so long for me. Son of a dog. It's because I don't run it off SSD, which is the issue. And it definitely should be. Okay, here we go. Okay, so let's start with our flautando. And then this is the concertino long. So there we go on that. This is our short flautando concertino. Those are very loose shorts. That's like sort of a marcato type feel. So yeah, there's the Frozen shorts. Here we go. Well, that's very nice. And these are fifths. And use with caution, because as I studied Baroque music, parallel fifths are a mess. So that is really, really nice feel to it. It has a very sort of weird squeaky thing. And these are the harmonics. And I love this articulation because I love soul point, but a lot of libraries have just recorded like the soul point with tremolos and stuff, and this library records it in a really, really nice sustain. So yeah, there's our main sort of string articulations. Let's open up the brass low. So yeah, they did this weird thing called air, and I'm not really sure what they're actually doing. I think they must be like just breathing into the instrument and not even playing it at all. But here, very interesting. double tonguing. Double tonguing with the brass mute. Trills. Flutter. I'm not really sure what these are. It's very weird. Some effects. If you want to score the witch or something. Oh crap! Better turn this. Ooh, I sort of like that. It's like a very like sort of on the edge, like what a lot of the EVO grids do. You know, it's very like normal for a little bit, and then it just has that. Or vibrato. We do like. And the shorts. So yeah, there's our brass. Okay, moving on to our woodwinds high, and then we'll move on to the grid, and then we will do the we'll mess with a little of the loops, and then we'll mess with the synth engine. So here we are. Air. And this has a little bit more depth because it's like the woodwind instruments has a lot more like sort of feels like it has a lot more space in the sound. Only on this articulation, Yarmabik. I mean, usually if I were to play the tune, it's too loud, but it's just on this articulation. Okay, let's do an interval. Ha! Burst. Double tonguing. Oh, yeah. I wouldn't really use that. Super air. I just want to go back to this for a second. Let's see. Alrighty. Now, really quick, the grid, pretty self-explanatory, but pretty much what we can go ahead and do is we can use our command control on if you have like a Mac keyboard, and you can go around and you can actually select each of the individual evos. So like this one. Or this one. And then you can screw around with its actual evolution. And you have much more access here. You have access to reverb, delay, and then your tape saturation. Which is really cool. And then we have our Brunel loops, and so we have raw, and then we have these combos here, and the combos are sort of like a collaboration between the actual raw recorded things, and then I believe it's like, you know, synthetic attributes. So one that I used in my piece, I used the time passing. But you know, there's tons of others, like this, just for example. All these really cool things that could be like a really good underlying rhythm to any sort of orchestral piece that you might have. And of course, you have two different layers here. You have bam, bam, and then just like in Gravity, how you would have like multiple layers or two layers, or like Eclipse or Orbit, where you'd have more than that. So you have two different layers, and you can then from there you can control the actual the build of each individual layer. So you have your low pass and your high pass filter, which I think are really important in developing the sound here. So. Oh, we're still on the time passing one. So yeah, those are just our Brunel loops. And so there's tons and tons and there's tons and tons and tons of those that you guys can use. And then lastly we have our Steamson Steam Band. So we have these developer kits, which I've never really understood what those are for. And then we have 3 different stylistic approaches to the pads, and they're all run from the Edna engine, which you guys might have recollected from Albion 1, or the rest of them have it. I believe Albion 2 might. Not sure. No, yeah, these don't really. These are just. Yeah. But Albion 1 does, and Albion 3 does, and Albion 4 does. And if we just load this means mod wheel is filter. And you can just create some really, really unbelievable sounds using these. And let's say you're scoring some type of movie where you don't necessarily want like a harmonic undertone, but you just sort of want like a very sort of you just want sort of this type of ambience that really just, this doesn't really sound musical. You can just feel it. Like if you just like close your eyes, you can just imagine pretty much any landscape, or these pads can travel you back thousands of years and just give you that really sort of otherworldly type feel. But yeah, so that's the Edna engine. So all in all, we have our Albion 5 orchestra, orchestra. We have our Brunel loops. We have our Darwin percussion. And the Darwin percussion, as I stated previously, you have the subs, which are the lows. And these seemed like actual drums that were recorded, like really, really large sort of drums, but then had a little synthetic stuff added to them. These are definitely sort of drums. But we get it even higher here. So that's just sort of if you don't want like some really, really serious, percussion, but you still want that rhythmic feel, and especially I feel like this percussion really complements the overall feel of the library as a whole. Excuse me, but yeah. So this is majorly what we have. We have our orchestra, we have our loops, and then we have our darn percussion, Steve's and Steam Band, and the grid. And the Steam Band and the loops all run in the Edna engine. And so that is mainly Albion 5. So, you know, every single library that Spitfire does in the Albion series, I believe each one has sort of this overall concept. And when you think of, you know, one specific library from this Albion series, you can really imagine something in your head. And whenever you listen to one, you can imagine something in your head. You know, with Albion 2, you imagine, you know, it's like a movie from the 1920s, and you hear that very, very nice sort of period drama-esque music. If you hear Albion 3, it's like, oh, crap, it's the apocalypse. Albion 4, someone's chasing my ass right now. Albion 5, you know, oh, I'm in nature, and I'm soaring above this gigantic extravagant forest. And so they've really captured that sort of dreamlike essence in their libraries, and it's so usable and it's so nice. And I love Spitfire. Might want to endorse me, Spitfire. You could sponsor me and send me your libraries, and I can do demos. But yeah, so absolutely unbelievable library, and I just want to thank you guys so much for joining me today on this review of Albion 5 Tundra. If you guys have any recommendations of any libraries that are coming out or are out that you guys would like to see, you know, demoed and reviewed, please leave that in the comments. If you have any questions, please leave that in the comments, and I will most definitely get back to you. And thank you guys so much, and I will see you all later. Here's the track one more time.